So after interviewing a lot of 6, 7, 8, 9-figure entrepreneurs, one common theme that I've noticed is that the hustle mentality doesn't actually make people happy. And I discovered this because everyone who I met who achieved it that were hustling, they all said the same thing. They all said that it wasn't the actual hustling that made them happy, but instead it's actually the pursuit, the purpose that you have when you're building what you're building. So my question to you, if you're watching this video right now and you're someone that's hustling so much that you're not actually living life at all, you're not building any strong relationships with people, you're not focusing on your health, you're sacrificing your health, you're not actually having any fun. My question to you is, why are you doing the hustling? Why are you not living other areas of your life and sacrificing the other areas of your life? That's the question, because there's nothing wrong with either or, but I'm just curious because after doing a lot of deep psychology work, I understand that a lot of people are hustling and sacrificing all other areas of their life, usually because they're trying to prove something. They're trying to prove a point. They're trying to uncover their limiting beliefs and their past trauma that they don't actually realize they have, which as a byproduct leads to them hustling more. And there's the whole thing of the monk mode where you lock yourself in your office, you don't see anyone, don't worry about your sleep, sacrifice your sleep. But the way I look at that is, imagine that was your last day. Imagine that was your last month alive. Like, we're not guaranteed tomorrow, we're not guaranteed next week, we're not guaranteed next year. So it's like, imagine if you spent your last whole year and all you did was work. And I'm sharing this from experience because I've also done that. I actually went through a period where I first got into the online business world, and I got into it because I wanted the freedom, but it actually led me on to having less freedom than if I was just in, say, a 9 to 5, because all I was doing was working. I was sacrificing my health. I wasn't training. I was sacrificing relationships. And it got to a point where I kept getting run down. And that was when I ended up going on a rabbit hole of learning about health and making that my priority. Because here's the thing, like, our health, like, without that, then we have nothing. Yes, the more money you make, the more you have to invest into your health, etc. 1,000,000%. However, to become extremely healthy and mentally free, you don't actually need loads of money to be able to do that. We can use the power of our breath, which is free. We can use the power of our mind, like meditation. You can go walking in nature, go on runs outside. Like, you don't even need to be investing into memberships and stuff like that. Personally, for me, I've always enjoyed investing into spa memberships and gym memberships. Like David Lloyd, as an example, was one that I was going into in the UK. And I think investing into these places, 1,000,000% is amazing because of the type of people you're going to meet there, the network you're going to meet there. However, you don't actually need money to to be healthy and look after your body, because you can get outside, get out into nature, get vitamin D. And I think this is where the hustle mentality can go wrong, where people end up just spending their whole time just glued to their phone, glued to their laptop, stuck in their office, and they wonder why they're working so hard, but they're not actually getting the results that they deserve or the results they want. And this is the key. This is the frequency, because here's the thing. Hustling, if you're in a low frequency, a low energy, and you're hustling, compared to if you're in a high vibration, you're in a good energy, you're in a good frequency, you've got the winner's mentality, and you're hustling, then that's going to be powerful. But if you're hustling because you're in a fearful state, you're you're scared, you're trying to prove a point, you're trying to prove your family wrong, or you're trying to prove friends wrong or people on social media wrong, that state, that energy, if you're hustling loads and working loads, but in that state, you're not going to be able to attract anything, because in order to create anything in reality, you must first see it in your mind, and you must actually be there energetically. So if energetically you're trying to achieve, say, 10K in a month, or energetically you're trying to land a client, or energetically you want to become a speaker, as an example. Before you can achieve that, you need to be energetically the person who's already receiving that. So if you're in this hustle mentality and you just locked yourself in a room, and you're doing it because you're scared, you're doing it because you're fearful, then you're not in the right frequency to be able to actually receive what it is that you want to achieve. So if you can focus on all three pillars, so at Freedom Lifestyle, we have three main pillars that we work with clients. And by the way, I'm not a specialist in all areas. I have a lot of knowledge in multiple different areas. However, I'm not a specialist in all areas. But the three main pillars that we focus on is number one, which is external freedom. So this is like the location that you are, like what type of life do you want to live? Where do you want to be able to work from? So location freedom. Obviously financial freedom. So what vehicle are you doing? Are you in sales? Are you in trading? Are you in drop shipping? Are you a coach? Like what is the vehicle that you're using to be able to create the external freedom? So that's pillar one, is external freedom. Pillar two is internal freedom. So internal freedom, because here's the thing, I've got a big network of many millionaires. I've interviewed a lot of them as well. And I know millionaires that have the money, but they're not actually happy. They're not actually free internally. So that's the reason why Freedom Lifestyle isn't just about making money, because there are a lot of people that are making money that aren't happy, that aren't healthy, that haven't got relationships. And Freedom Lifestyle is all about having it all, winning in all areas of life. So external freedom is pillar one, internal freedom is pillar two. So this is everything to do with your alignment. Like, are you in alignment with why you're here on this earth, your purpose, your mission? You're actually waking up every single day excited because you're working towards your dream, you're working towards your mission. Also internal when it comes to your health. Like, how are you looking after your mind, your body, and your soul? So that's pillar number two. And then pillar number three is life freedom. Are you actually having fun? You know, are you traveling? Are you experiencing the beauty of this earth? Or are you just sat in your office all day, every day, and you're not actually happy? So they're the three main pillars that we focus on at Freedom Lifestyle. And then we also have the final level, and this is something that I'm working on myself. The final part is then wealth freedom. Because this is another thing. I know a lot of people that, are earning 6, 7 figures in, say, like, in the corporate world, right? But then they're not actually building wealth. All the money they're earning, they're just spending. As they earn more money, their lifestyle increases, and, they have bigger finance cars, the mortgages, the payments, etc. And they're not actually building long-term wealth. And for me personally, this is an area that I really want to work on myself as well, because a lot of the money that I've received through being in sales and then also building online business, that money I've invested into my health. I've invested into mentors. I've currently invested over £50,000 into mentors, which some people think is crazy. But for me personally, I could have used that money and say got a house or a mortgage, but instead I put that money into investing into myself, into my knowledge, getting around the right people, upgrading my network, which is then led on to amazing things and amazing opportunities, which I'm so grateful for. But the next phase for me is I want to really learn about growing my wealth long term, because I'm starting to think more longer term about, raising a family. So the fourth part is building wealth freedom. So they're the main four pillars that we have inside Freedom Lifestyle. And, we're going to be interviewing the world's freest people on the Freedom Lifestyle podcast. Season 2 is actually coming out very, very, very soon, which I'm extremely excited to get out into the world. And we're going to be interviewing, we're going to be getting guest speakers on into the community so we can help you create freedom externally, internally, and also having life freedom. So if you want to join this mission, this movement, then you can join the Freedom Lifestyle community for free below, and you're going to get access to the freest mentors from all over the world in all different areas: money, health, relationships, having fun, travel. So I'm excited to see you inside, and I hope this has given you some insight. I want to let me know in the comments of like what your views are when it comes to the hustle mentality, because there are some massive benefits. Like, I'm someone that I do work hard, but I also make sure that I focus on my other areas of my life that I really value. So if you're someone that wants to win in all areas and be free in all areas, then yeah, let's subscribe to this channel. I want to get connected with you personally, and I'll be seeing you inside the Freedom Lifestyle. Hasta luego.